Hey guys, it's Heather from Cookies for Breakfast here with the pregnancy number 2, week 32 update vlog. As you can see, I am filming from a new location. It's kind of an awkward location. It's in our new kitchen with all of our mess in the background. You can see, excuse me, some dirty dishes and a microwave, but just realized that I needed to get this done, and it's a mess, and whatever, it was the best spot that I could find. So I have a list. As promised last week, I said that I would start with the hospital update. Excuse me, I am like super sick, as you could tell from last week's video. It's still continuing. I feel like this pregnancy has been one cold after the other. When I was pregnant with Benjamin for an entire year, for the few months leading up to getting pregnant, through the end of the year, I was not pregnant. I was not sick once. And this time, I have been sick, I swear, at least once a month. Excuse me. So, but this is actually the worst cold that I've had since being pregnant this time. So, it's not been a good time. Hopefully, we're getting it all out now before the baby comes, because I obviously don't want to be like this, like in labor or when the baby's here. So, anyway, so for the hospital visit, that actually relates to being sick, but kind of in a roundabout way. Last Tuesday, now to preface, and this is in, I think, the disclaimer in the text portion of the post below. If anything like bodily fluids or anything grosses you out, just don't watch the rest of this. Anything like that. I always swore that I would never be like one of those bloggers that overshares all kinds of details, but it's relevant to the story, and I can't really tell it without telling the details. So I guess it is what it is. And it's so funny because I always swore. I remember reading stories about, like, on blogs, various blogs, whatever, birth stories, all kinds of stuff with like gross, too much information. I was like, oh, I can't believe that this person is sharing that, whatever. And here I am doing the same thing. But again, it's relevant to the story. It's not really something that I can like gloss over. But so last Tuesday I had my appointment with a nutritionist who was happy with the numbers that I've been getting for gestational diabetes since I started testing my sugar levels. I am also participating in a sleep study. I get $75, which, hey, if you have gestational diabetes, you might as well make some money off of it. I'm actually picking up tomorrow like a sleep kit to do like a sleep study at home. You have to tape all the gear on your face and everything, the whole bit. So she was in the same office building as the nutritionist, so I met with her to go over how the study works, everything. I'm going to be completing that this week. Hold on, cell phone. Sorry. So anyway, hospital visit. TMI, so turn off if you don't like to hear it. But I drove out from my parents' house out to the nutritionist, which is about like 2 hours to get there. Met with the lady from the sleep study, which is exciting. I'm interested. They won't have actually results for several years, but they think that there is a relationship between disordered sleep breathing, like snoring and sleep apnea, and gestational diabetes. So what they're hypothesizing is that the snoring / sleep apnea, whatever, makes women more likely to develop gestational diabetes when they're pregnant. So I totally fit the mold for that category. I snore all the time anyway, but when I'm pregnant, it's super bad. So in general, it's definitely a problem that I have. And obviously now I have the gestational diabetes as well. So I did all that. Drove all the way back to my parents' house. This is 4 hours in the car, a couple of appointments. Came home. I think I got home at like 2 o'clock maybe. Benjamin was still napping. Sorry, I'm like super itchy. I don't know what's going on. Benjamin was still napping. My mom had him for the morning. Went upstairs, went to the bathroom, and saw that I was like bleeding just like a tiny, tiny bit. But it was enough to like be concerning. But what concerned me even more is that it seemed like I had discovered, I guess, I don't know how you say it, lost, whatever, my mucus plug. So I like went on Google like to see what it looks like. Don't Google it unless you ever have to. Just don't Google it. I'm telling you right now, it's disgusting. But it looked exactly like everything Google said that it should. And obviously at 31 weeks, that was terrible. Like, that's obviously way too early. So everything I read online said that, could be some kind of an emergency. So I called my midwife's office. And at this point, it was probably like 2:30. By the time that they called me back, it was getting closer to 3. And so to get an appointment for me to drive 2 hours back out again, I wouldn't have made it there in time. I would have barely made it. But they said that, even if something was wrong, they wouldn't be able to do anything for me in the office anyway. So they recommended that I go to the women's emergency. So it's basically like the hospital where you go to give birth. They have their own separate emergency room, like for pregnant people. So she said I could go where I was living with my parents, or I could go to the one where I'll be having the baby. Which is like a really, really good hospital. It's kind of like a renowned research hospital. I mean, I don't know if I want to say like renowned, but it's like a really good facility. And they do a lot of, they're more on the cutting edge than most hospitals. So, they have a really good NICU. So I was thinking like your mind is racing when this is all happening. Like, what if I end up getting admitted there until the end of the pregnancy? Or what if like the baby is born super early? Like, I didn't want to go to a hospital like near my parents where I wasn't really sure of the quality. I wanted to go where I was positive it was a really good place just in case, something bad happened. So I made the drive all the way back out to the hospital again. Derek met me there. My mom stayed home with Benjamin. She wanted to come, but she would have had to bring him. So I think that was a good idea. So by the time we got to the hospital, it was like 4:30, 5 o'clock maybe. So they did like all my checking and everything. The first nurse noticed that my pulse was really fast, and just assumed it was because I was nervous, which I was. And I was seen, like, checked in. Actually, I did all like the preliminary stuff. And then Derek got there, so it was really good timing because he didn't need to be there for like all the paperwork and checking blood pressure and stuff like that. So he got there. Then they took me into like my own room, got me like all hooked up on a monitor. Baby was looking fine, everything. So they did an exam. This is after like a really long time. Like we waited there for a long time for the doctor to come back and do the exam. So she did that. They took some samples, did all these various things. They were checking my blood sugar. They started IVs. Because what happened was they ended up not really caring too much about the bleeding at all. After they did the exam. Excuse me. They saw that I wasn't dilated or anything. So they were not concerned about the bleeding or the mucus plug or whatever it was. Which it probably was, some of it, I guess, they said. I don't know. They weren't concerned about that at all, but they were very concerned that my pulse was super high. So it was like in the 120s, 130s, and they wanted it down like below 100. And nothing was really bringing it down. Like I had calmed down, whatever. I didn't have enough to qualify as having a fever, but my temperature was slightly high, and I could feel like my face like flushing. And I had just started getting this cold the night before, so I had woken up at night and I could feel it coming on. So it was really starting to like, I guess, activate while I was in the hospital. So they were just concerned about the pulse. So in order to bring it down, I ended up getting 3 IV bags of fluid. So like my face blew up, like everything was all puffy. And we just waited there, and they kept checking my pulse. It wasn't going down. They gave me a rapid flu test, which I didn't want to take because even if I had the flu, I wasn't going to take Tamiflu anyway because they're like, oh, it's safe. I don't trust that. And it's a relatively new drug. I don't really believe that taking anything is safe when you're pregnant. Like, I've only taken Tylenol a couple times, and that's like in an extreme emergency. So whatever they say is safe, I don't really believe it's that safe, and especially not this because it's so new. Mama? Yes, dear. You want to say hi? All right. Would you go find your tractor, okay? You go find a tractor, or you want to stay here?
Yeah,
Okay. So my pulse wasn't going back down. Your half your face is missing. Silly. So they were concerned about that. The flu. So anyway, the Tamiflu. That's what I was saying. I wasn't gonna take it anyway, but they were all freaked out. Like, oh, if you have the flu, pregnant people, like basically making it sound like you're gonna die and your baby's gonna die. So, I had actually refused the rapid flu test. Because I thought it was useless since I wasn't going to take the Tamiflu anyway. But then I was like, all right, fine, I'll take it. And they take this like super long stick and they shove it up like all the way up your nose to like, I swear, like here. It was terrible. They were like tickling my brain. I actually went to grab the lady's hand to take it out. So they did that. They did 2 strep tests. The strep test came back negative. I found out a couple days later the flu test was negative. So they were saying that a lot of times if you have some kind of like a viral infection, it causes your pulse to get higher. And that giving fluids usually brings it down, but in my case it wasn't. So that's like what they were worried about, and that was basically it. So we were there from probably 4 until 10. I think was it 10? It was around 10 when they finally let us go. But they were actually talking about like keeping me overnight there. So of course Derek is freaking out. Can't believe that they're making this big of a deal out of like a simple cold. But whatever, I guess, they're just trying to be safe. But so I can't imagine having to be there overnight. So luckily it did happen. We got home. It was really late. So last week was just bananas. We had that. So the next day, by the time I got home, it was like after midnight. So last week was just, Benjamin was sick. He's the one who brought this illness into the house. So he wasn't sleeping well. I was not sleeping well. So the whole week, plus I obviously, was packing, getting ready for the move. It was just a busy week, so no sleep then. And now we're in the new house and I haven't been sleeping here either because Benjamin's been freaked out about being in the new house. So I am just like so exhausted between this and the cold. I'm just beat. So hopefully this clears up soon. Because of like all the stuff, like between the hospital and moving, I've been kind of like really bad about doing my blood sugar testing. The testing in the morning, those numbers have been fine, but to test during the day, like 2 hours after every meal, like I'm either like in the middle of something or, I'm like out or something. And I also haven't been really good at eating like 3 solid meals a day. It's been more kind of snacking throughout, which you can't really test that because your numbers aren't going to be an accurate, they'll be an accurate reading of your blood sugar, but it's not going to be like, if I had a meal and I tested an hour later, it should be under 140. If it was 2 hours later, it should be under 120. But if you're snacking like all day long, there's no real number that they gave me that would be an acceptable number. So I have been really bad about that. However, I have been like trying to stick to the diet plan, not as closely as I should, but I have a couple weeks of good data to know what I can do and what I can do, what I can't do. So I've been trying to stick to like what I know is okay and has worked for me in the past. So I really need to get back on that. We moved on Saturday. It's just a disaster. Like I feel like our life is never going to be settled again because there's boxes everywhere. I haven't found everything. For some reason, when I packed up the Keurig, I never packed up the reservoir that holds the water, so I can't make coffee. I've been having to drive out in the morning to get it. I don't have my flat iron, so I've been doing this every day. It's just been like really chaotic, and I've just been kind of freaked out about like I just need to relax. Before we moved, all I wanted to do was move. And I figured that once we moved, I would just relax, and I have. I'm not nearly as grouchy as I was before, but we're surrounded in boxes today. I'm filming this is Tuesday. We're having Benjamin's birthday party on Saturday. So we have to at least have the downstairs clean. I have all these crafts that I need to finish because I bought all the supplies. So I've got to finish all that. And I'm just like, wow, there's just so much stuff to do. Like every day from here on out is like going to be balls out crazy. Tomorrow I have another midwife and chiropractor appointment, and then I have to go do a couple other errands, so I've got that going on. So yeah, party plans is the big thing for this week, as well as unpacking this disaster. Trying to find stuff. Benjamin's birthday, the move day, was kind of a bummer. We had some mishaps in the morning. I was going to take him to breakfast and go get a cupcake. We ended up having to leave. I don't know how we have fruit flies already, but there's been one fruit fly circulating in this house, and it's driving me crazy. But anyway, we had a mishap, and I actually had to take him to the house like early on Saturday morning, way earlier than planned. I wasn't supposed to be here until the afternoon because the moving truck wasn't coming until then. So I had to come here in the morning. So we missed breakfast. I had my mom pick up the cupcakes, but we were just been so busy, ate it last night, so it was kind of like a little stale. So I did give him his balloon. We didn't even give him any presents until, like, was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago, Sunday night. We still haven't given him the trampoline yet. We still have 2 more planes to give him. So it was just kind of like non-eventful. Like, we were supposed to go to this children's museum on Sunday. We didn't end up going because there was so much other stuff that had to be done. I don't really see that happening because this weekend, we have the party on Saturday, so it's not going to happen on Saturday. And then Sunday, Derek's got a ton of stuff outside to do. It's not going to happen then. The weekend after that is Thanksgiving, so I feel kind of bad. Like, it's kind of a crappy birthday. I mean, it's not like he knows or cares, but, like, it means a lot to me to do nice things with him on his birthday, especially because his last birthday is an only child, you know, like, I don't know. I'm just very concerned right now about him adjusting because he's been, like, having a hard time getting used to the house. Like, you know, he's not been sleeping well, and he wakes up in the middle of the night. Like, normally I have no patience, honestly, for middle of the night wake-ups, but I feel so bad because he just sounds so scared when he wakes up because he doesn't know where he is. Like, he doesn't know, you know, we've been to the house many times throughout construction, but he just is, like, at a whole new level of freak out, scared when he wakes up, and it's just really sad. So he ended up sleeping in our bed couple nights. Last night he stayed in his crib the whole night. I mean, he slept in our room with us from when he was born until he turned a year old. So last November we started transitioning him to his cribs. We went from November, probably like the end of November to February when we moved in his room. And then once we moved to my parents' house, he's been in the same room as me from February until now. So for the most part, he's always been in a room with us or just me. He's hardly ever had time sleeping in his own room. And when he did, he was, like, really, like, a lot younger. So I'm just really concerned that, like, it's a big adjustment for him to get used to this new house. It's a big adjustment to, you know, be living with us all together. We're going to be getting the dog back soon. You know, he's not living with my parents, seeing them every day. It's a brand new house, new environment, and then in, like, a short period of time, we're bringing a baby into the mix. So I'm just very concerned. Like, this is one of the reasons why, like, I can't relax. Like, I really expected to be, like, super all out, elated, happy to be in the house, which I am, but I have all these other things that I'm worried about, like, worried about him adjusting, like, if he's going to be okay, if we're scarring him for life. I mean, there's really nothing we can do, but trying to make it easier. All the unpacking. I mean, I still have to go through, like, find all this baby stuff that we're going to need that I've kind of forgotten about. It's been in storage for a really long time. You know, wash baby clothes if it's a boy. I have to buy some things if it's a girl. We haven't even discussed names, not at all. The box with the name book in it, I think is downstairs in the basement. But I don't even know when we're going to have time to be discussing this. I don't know. I mean, we haven't even discussed names at all. So there's just a lot to do and not that much time left. And everyone is like, oh, it'll happen in its own time. And I'm like, no, we don't have its own time. Like, it has to get done now. Like, I could, like, honestly have a baby, like, tomorrow. It's probably unlikely, but geez, knock on wood. But it could happen. We're totally not prepared. So there's just a little stressed out about all that. But anyway, we're at least in the new house. That is all for this week. And we'll do a bump shot. I don't know if I'm even going to fit. And that is all for this week. You can see somebody is joining me now. So I will see you next week. Bye. You say bye? You say bye.